We have some special guests here with RedFork Marketing. You are a small business or you are a seller in our manufactured home industry. You want to hang on, you want to listen to this whole podcast. Welcome to MH Live, and this is a great episode coming up. We're really happy to have RedFork here. If you're a small business, you're going to want to learn more about these two right here, these guys in front of me or on the side of me. And if you're a seller, you're going to want to know why SunBelt Homes is the only company now you should go to, and what we do and how our partnership with RedFork Marketing took shape. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. I'm Dave Syracusa. And as always, I am here with Ed Salvatore, our long-standing agent, 19 years with the company, and the company has only been here 19 years.
Yeah, there you go.
So, how you doing,
everybody? I'm having a great time. Welcome you guys up, and coming from Motown, we appreciate you coming up to the LC and spending some time with us here. You know,
yeah, we're thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having us on. Much appreciated.
Yeah, and you weren't lying about that music. That was awesome.
Yeah, wasn't that a good intro? Thanks. Yeah. So we want to kind of start with where we all came from, how we met you, and what you guys have done to us. We're just talking off the air that you've been with us half of our life. And it was a good half of the company's life, and it was a good half. So you've been with us now for about 11 years, 9 years?
Almost a full decade. I think at
10.
the end of this year, it'll be 10 years.
Yeah, it was like forever ago.
I know. Wow.
And Ed, why don't you kind of tell them how we found him?
Okay. Well, I asked some people around there because I came from the nightclub industry, restaurant, bar, nightclub industry, and I know that's really aggressive marketing. You have to market every day to keep those people coming through.
Oh, yeah.
So I asked some of my people that were entrepreneurs in the Orlando area that were using them as they were restaurant people. So I figured if they could bring traffic to restaurants, this would be a great tie-in with us because we are aggressive marketers, and that's what I wanted to look for. I didn't want anybody weak. I wanted somebody that was really aggressive, get out there and do it, and really brand our name and get us on the map because we were going up against giants in this industry right here in Lake County. We had our competition was fierce, and we never shy away. We kept getting aggressive, and that's why I picked you, and we had our meeting in your beautiful offices in Thornton Park.
Well, and Ed, you're right to a point, right? I mean, we during those days, I mean, that was early 2017, I think, when we first talked. So during those days, a lot of the work that we were doing was in restaurants, and you're right, it's a difficult market because not only are the margins very tight within restaurants, but in addition to that, you're also focused on retention. We have to figure out how to make sure that they not just like the food, but that they like the brand and the experience, which I think a little bit of a tease there as to where we're headed.
And you were all doing high-end restaurants. This wasn't McDonald's or anything else. This was all high-end, high-end restaurants in Orlando.
Yeah, and we made a lot of mistakes along the way too. We're gonna get with that, but coming into it, you guys really gave us some good insight there.
Yeah, I think that from the get-go, I think if I remember correctly, the website was kind of the foot in the door, if I remember correctly. But one of the things that we did first time kind of talking is really taking a step back and asking questions at a high level, like strategy. Like, well, what does SunBelt look like? How is the name spelled? How should people feel when they get to the website or when do you even have social media right now? And just, I think even at the time, if I remember, that caught you off guard a little bit.
They were difficult questions. Yeah. I mean, you really had to think in depth, and we really didn't think in depth because we're agents. We sell. Right, Ed? We're in the streets. We'll write up an ad or whatnot. There may have not been a rhyme or reason to it. Just maybe the ad of the day. I remember that one ad. Ed, you do pretty good with ads and design too. That one squirrel ad we did, gathering your nuts.
Your nuts to pay more.
Right, something like that. Yeah. That was us. Okay, before RedFork.
Well, and you got to keep in mind too. I mean, when you guys started, correct me if I'm wrong, it was 2008, right?
Yeah.
So this is during the height of recession time. Talk about aggressive sales, right? During that time. Yeah. But more importantly, think about this for a moment. The iPhone, the very first one, came out in 2007.
Wow, I didn't really
Which
realize
means the version of this world that we're living in is pretty new and really just a year old from when you actually started the business. So the market has changed quite a bit from when you started to when you talked about us to even now, almost 10 years later.
We were shooting pictures with a camera with a card in it. So we had an SD card. I'd have to have 2 or 3 of them because I was out there listening, so I'd have to leave that card. And they would put the things. That was back in the day. It was almost.
Which kind of leads us, interestingly enough, to I think where we really needed to make some changes. And I think, when we sat down and we talked, what we realized in that moment was that SunBelt, in some ways, was operating the way that agents would operate out in the field, which is that they are the educators and they are the ones that people are trusting on to get them information. But as the world became more mobile, and as people relied more on internet, we found very quickly that people were educating themselves online first, right? And that became a really big, kind of a little bit of a misstep at a point for SunBelt specifically, where we had to figure out how to almost pivot the entire marketing strategy for you guys, right?
Yeah, and we had to.
And that wasn't easy either.
It wasn't. I agree.
It's always about what you don't know. What you don't realize what you don't know. You don't realize what you don't know.
Yeah.
And when we met RedFork, you guys really opened up our eyes on what we didn't know.
Yeah.
And it kind of blew me away. And the hardest part was to trust in someone that you know they have the experience, and you guys do have the experience. We found that out afterwards, though. But we had to write a check before that. And
that's scary.
That is scary.
It's scary.
Yeah.
But that was like planting seeds that you don't see grow for months.
That's right.
Yeah.
Months.
Well, I remember having several discussions with you guys, and the reality is when we start with any business, right, we don't want to flip the tables from day one. That's a really jarring, even if it's the right thing to do, it's very jarring and very difficult to go through that transition. So for us, it was a lot of like, where's the low-hanging fruit? What are some things that we can change right now? And I think one of the biggest things that we focus on is strategy, right? Because so many people go out into the market and they put out their ads and they put out their stuff and they kind of throw spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, right?
That was us.
Yeah. And to a point, that's not necessarily always a bad thing because you can learn quite a bit from all the things that don't work.
At least you're also trying.
Yeah,
that's right.
Sure. But there is a point where your business needs to be more targeted, needs to be more thoughtful, and needs to be more careful about specifically what we're doing. And I think, Dan, this might be a good time to introduce ourselves. My name is Dave. I am the marketing and strategy director for RedFork. So my job is to sit down with businesses, learn more about who they're targeting, what they're trying to accomplish, and figure out the goals. I mean, neither of our organizations are charities, right? So at the end of the day, we do want to add more dollars to the bank account, but we also have a mission. And the mission becomes really important and linked directly to the strategy because it helps us understand how we speak and how we present ourselves, right? In a way, it's a lot of what we're doing here today is we're presenting our brands in a way that people can help and understand and so on. So my point in saying all this is strategy became really important up front for you guys, especially as the market was changing.
I think one of those first steps, again, going back to the website, is looking at the website, how it operates. I think one of the first things we learned is there wasn't even like a contact form or a lead-in form on the website, right? So if somebody went to learn more about SunBelt, sure, they learn more, but then there maybe wasn't a second step.
Oh, you're embarrassing me now. You're embarrassing me. Listen, remember, internet and stuff, it wasn't that, it's kind of new to us, and then, it wasn't really new to us in 2008. I mean, it's been around for 10 years, maybe. Really.
But certainly the mobile version of the internet was.
That was real new to us, right? In the SEO part. Okay, we'll get back to you, Dan, because we want to know a little bit about your history and who you are. So we're going to get back to that. But right now, we're going to go into a little bit of a break. But before we do, we just want to remind everybody that SunBelt Homes is there for you in all of your housing needs. If you're selling if you need to buy a brand new home, we can certainly help you with that. If you are removing a home from your property and you need some help with that, we certainly can help you with that. And then we have over 200 listings. If if you want to buy or sell a manufactured home in a manufactured home community, we certainly can help you with that. So stay tuned. We're going to be right back. We're talking with RedFork Marketing, Dave Diaz, Dan Aaron, and they are the co-founders of RedFork. Oh, yeah. So we'll be right back and talking to them. So hang tight, and thanks for listening. They could find our website. We have a lot of information in the library of our website. We have a lot of different pages about new homes. They could take a look at all the different floor plans and new homes. They can see about removal of homes. Our website's great information for anything in the mobile home business. But a lot of it is, I would say, talk to people like me. Pick up the phone and give me a call. That's the best way to do it.
Welcome back. It's MH Live, and here we are live with RedFork Marketing out of Orlando, Florida. It is our backbone. That's our element of marketing to all the nation and the world, really. We do have a couple of people here. I'm going to introduce Dan here in just a second, but I do want to let you know we did not do this always the right way, the correct way. But
we tried.
But but so we did have some mistakes, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Meanwhile, let me introduce Dan. Tell them what you do for RedFork.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm Daniel Heron, and I am the web and content director here at RedFork. I've been working with RedFork's Dave for a long time, and Dave and Ed for quite a long time.
Yeah, two Daves here, not confusing at all.
Two Daves. And then it doesn't hurt that I get confused for Dave all the time.
All the time.
Dave
and Dan, yesterday. It's like, yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I'm the web and content director, and I think, like I previewed earlier, that first step into kind of the RedFork sphere, if I could say, was the website. And many times that is the first step for a lot of our clients. And one of the things that we noticed immediately is that the website is a core destination for people, especially as Dave was talking about earlier in the beginning of the mobile age. Like, more and more people started using their phones to look up information, learn more about businesses, learn more about their services. And so a website became like that digital storefront.
It was the front door, right?
Yeah, it came to, like, I'd say more people go to websites than they go to their actual store.
Right, yeah, you're right, 1,000%.
And Ed always said that. It was like, Ed always said the website's like a mall, and that's our storefront.
And our storefronts in the mall, we have to keep this nice and pull them in there and have the product on the shelves.
Right.
No wonder we started working so well together. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, so then again, in that first kind of like iteration of everything, Dave, from a strategy standpoint, took a look at the website and of course said, yeah, we can definitely revamp this, we can fix up content or look at images, but I think there's something else that we need to do first. We may need to take a step back a little bit and really consider what SunBelt is as a whole. What is the brand of SunBelt? How do we want it to appear? How do we want it to feel? How do you spell it,
Right.
And how do we differentiate?
A lot of people ignore this part of any, especially on the small business side, because, the small business side, we want sales, and we want sales today, right? But sometimes taking that step back and looking at the branding side is really important, and we did a lot of that work up front. I mean, tell us a little bit more about what we did.
Yeah, so even one of the first things does go back to the name. Like, is it SunBelt Home Sales? Is it SunBelt Home Resales? SunBelt, I think there's one more iteration.
Mobile Home Sales?
Is it Mobile Home Sales? And we really wanted to figure out, well, if we want people to know SunBelt, like, how should they be terming it? Like, I spoke to the guys at SunBelt, or is it a different variation of that? So that's
and it seems silly, but if Facebook says one name and the website says another name, and then there's Instagram that says another name, I think people, without even realizing it, in their head go, oh, this is not a valid business.
Yeah, it kind of exists like in this different plane or ether where you don't know why it doesn't feel right, but it just doesn't feel right. Like, things seem off.
I want to interject because you guys are cracking me up. Ed and I thought our website was the bomb before. We were like, man, we did it. Because Ed and I are the ones that basically did it. I mean, we created it like we did yours,
Sure,
we didn't create it. We had to help you with the content. You guys took it and did what you did, your amazing things with it. But yeah, we thought we were good. And I'll be honest with you, when you guys started talking all that Okay, I'll just say it. When you guys started talking all that crap about branding, okay, I was just thinking that was a money thing.
Yeah.
You guys are trying to get money out of my pocket. Yeah, that's all that
Well,
was.
and I mean, for there's a good purpose to that, right? Which is like, how does branding put money in my pocket today, right? I mean, that was the question, and
But you have to spend that money to get money back.
exactly.
And now, anything we do, we align with you guys, because if we do something on our own, it's got to be the color chart.
Yes.
It's got to be the right fonts.
The
It's gotta-
images.
exactly.
I remember Dave asking you, what is your color code for the orange? And you're like,
It's
it's orange. What do you mean?
How many
You ever
oranges
seen
are there?
You ever seen a crayon before? You know?
So we
Harley
definitely-
Davidson orange.
Yeah. So we definitely started asking those questions. We took a step back, and it was a bit like jarring at first, right?
Yeah.
And it can be sometimes. And you may not remember this, Dave, but I remember after we rebranded, we cleaned things up. You definitely love it. But there was like a project, I think 6 months later on, where I think it was a flyer or ad that needed to be put out. And the initial design came out, and you're the one who actually came back to us and said, I don't think that orange is right, or something to that extent.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
were right. You were right. The
Oh.
orange was like a smidge off or something. So it started to really get ingrained also on your end that the branding is really important for how your business speaks to the greater.
Man, if I see
population.
an agent put an ad out and it's like not with our logo, sometimes they'll do that. You know, they'll just put SunBelt and they won't use our logo. I'm like, no.
Or they'll use like a very cursive-y font. I've seen sometimes before,
Right?
things like that. Yeah, and it just like there's no cohesion there, right? Like people expect there's a reason why somebody can hold up a cup with a green dot on it and they know exactly where that coffee cup came from.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So the branding, I mean, it really does put in a lot of work for putting the dollars in the bank.
And I love what you said earlier. You said you don't realize it until you realize it. Like it starts to click, and then you realize how much those little minutia details can actually have a big impact into how people perceive your business and your brand. And that goes back to kind of the questions we. So strategy was super important. How does the brand appear? Before we actually design anything, what do we want it to feel like? What do we want it to communicate? And what do we want to make sure is streamlined and consistent across the board? And then I think we started talking like real website
Yeah,
stuff.
website definitely came up. And I would say, Ed, you were going to say something.
It's polishing the brand too. Don't put anything out there that's crap. You have to do it right. Do it first class.
Yeah.
People respect you that way.
And here's the thing: we're not saying spend $10,000 on putting out a flyer, right? If that's not the first step for you as a small business, especially, then don't do that. There are a lot of ways to do the right thing without breaking the bank. And in many ways,
You took me there. Like, you actually took us there. I mean, you knew what we needed, but if you told me everything at that first meeting,
No, it would've
that
scared
it was
you
gonna
off.
cost- it was going to cost this much, you know? I was like, what? That'd be our last meeting.
Yeah,
It would have been
sure.
and I'm so glad that didn't happen. You took baby steps with us. And by you guys taking baby steps with us, we were able to grow that way. I mean, like I said, it didn't happen overnight. And this is a 10-year journey with you guys, but look at where we are now. We've made a national attention.
I know you guys were featured nationally on that magazine on
And that's because of you guys
MH
too.
Insider.
On MH Insider,
Ed and I were talking about that. Yeah, we did obviously our sales and our customer service and all that, but if we didn't have our brand together, okay, can you imagine if we went to the shows, we met those people,
Yep.
if they went back to our website, because they go back to the website to check you out,
Of
right?
course.
If we didn't have that and our brand together, we wouldn't have made national attention. So
Yeah.
I really believe that.
Well, and I think
And
this.
thank you.
I think this.
And it was 3
yeah.
pages of it. This
3
is
pages.
not just a little blip. It's 3 pages. You have to turn it twice.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a big
That's
deal. I mean, for a company based out of Central Florida that primarily services this one area, I mean, to be nationally recognized is huge. And congratulations to you guys,
Oh,
honestly,
thank you.
because
Thank you.
we could have done all the right things on our end. The reality is, you guys were on the floor. You guys were on the ground, selling, making those relationships, focusing on reviews, and doing all kinds of things that we didn't have a hand in at all. And so, really, it's a good partnership between the two of us. I
And
think.
speaking about local companies, we are organic. We are homegrown right here in Leesburg, Florida. We don't have a branch office over in Orlando. Miami ain't supporting us. It's all right here. And it's all because of local people driving local business to local business, which is good.
So, let's talk, Ed, you identified there were a couple of mistakes, couple of missteps, and so on. Let's talk website really quick, right?
Okay.
2008. iPhone's been out for a year. People are not necessarily relying full-heartedly on this. But by the time we get involved, 2017, people expect that websites are mobile-friendly. People expect that they're super fast. People expect that they're going to find all the information that they need. As a matter of fact, if you go to a website and you don't find the things that you need, what do?
Go to another website.
Go to another website, right? And so I would say this was probably one of the biggest missteps that we were able to work together to resolve. It wasn't mobile-friendly. As a matter of fact, and this is hilarious, but the website, if I remember correctly, was actually hosted out of somebody's bedroom computer.
I'm doing it again.
I know, which was wild, but
we didn't even know that.
we
realize
but
that.
we knew that there were a lot of things that had to be fixed really quickly. We knew that it needed to be resolved because we knew that was, again, the front door. And if people walked into the front door, your website, and didn't get what they needed right away, you lost the business. And that wasn't the case in 2008, but it certainly was when we first got started together.
You know, another thing too, you guys, what I really appreciate about RedFork is you guys. It's not like the partnership doesn't revolve around money for you guys, and you know, I mean, and ours. It doesn't revolve around money with our clients. Like we try to do the best for our clients, and the money's after that's our reward.
The money's the necessity, right?
Yeah, you know it is. But you guys give advice to us. I mean, you guys have helped us with free advice, which goes a long way. I mean, you're probably one of the reasons why the reviews are so high, because you told us it was really important.
Sounds like we need to raise our rates now. No, but you're right. I mean, because we're so small business focused, we need to make sure, one, that we're affordable for small businesses, right? Which is very difficult to find an agency where that actually happens.
It is.
It's very difficult. But in addition to that, there's a reason why we don't have clients and we have partners. We take that incredibly serious, and I'm happy to hear that as one of our partners that you see it that way as well.
Absolutely. I feel like it's a partnership. It feels that way. If I have a problem, I mean, I know who to go to. I'm not going to go anywhere else. I'm going to go to you guys. And we just had somebody else come in and they wanted to quote our business. And I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Go ahead. And they were very less expensive than you. But I knew the quality wasn't there. I could just tell. And I was like, I'm not making any changes. I loved hearing it, you know. I actually put Jamie over there. I put her through the ringer. So yeah, go ahead, meet with them. That's fine. I'm like, but I'm never changing out of RedFork. I'll never leave RedFork.
But I think that's also in the macro, in the big picture, what makes the marketing aspect of SunBelt work so well is that we do have a really close relationship.
Yeah.
We have an honest relationship. When we feel something is not working, you're able to tell us. When we feel we want to push you to do something new, you're not just shunning us away and saying, oh, it's extra money, I don't want to do it. You're at least entertaining us and thinking about it. And so we have this kind of ideal where we can always evolve and bring levels.
Yeah.
So yeah, the website started in a certain place, but as it evolved, you've allowed us to also push to keep evolving it, and you've also pushed us to keep evolving it.
We have another little of evolution coming on the website very shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're constantly working on it. The reality is, if you build a website and you let it sit, it will fall off the radar. And I think while I know we're going to get into this a little bit in our next segment, fixing the website was one of the biggest and most important things that we could have done. But the reality of it is, we needed to get people there as well. Right?
Yeah.
There was no point in having a beautiful website if nobody knew that it existed. And so getting it out, making sure that it was visible as people were searching, and this actually brings us a little bit into more of the modern day.
You said some words like SEO, and I'm like CEO? Yeah. I'm the CEO. I'm the CEO of the company. What? SEO? What?
Right.
Yeah.
But today, for instance, like SEO is remarkably important, even today. But so is this new like AI and you know how people are using it in order to find what they need next, right? I mean, oftentimes now they're relying on that first, which was not the case even a year ago. I mean, it's
I don't even
changed
understand
so much.
how that's working, and we're going to go into that maybe a little bit on the next segment. But it's important to have a guy like you to help a company like us, a guy like you guys, to have a company like us to navigate through that, because that's huge. And AI can take us to places who knows where it can take us.
We always have to be changing, always be changing. Never satisfied with what you're doing right now. Always try to learn more. always try to give your customers a better experience.
Well, and that brings us to people who are looking to sell, mobile homes and manufactured homes today, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
oftentimes what we're asking is not only what will make the website better, what will make it faster, what will make it, more easy to navigate. We're asking for the people who are needing this website to work well.
Sellers right now need us badly.
Correct. Especially in today's market.
The market is low. I'm taking on listings that have been out there for almost 200 days.
Wow.
They're calling me. Now, the thing about it is this is the most important time not to be chintzy, okay? You're losing, if you're not staying in this house, you're not living in this house, you're losing money every month, every month. And you pick the wrong company, the wrong agent, and they tell you all this front end stuff, but they can't perform, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And you really need to sell it right now. A health reason, a financial reason, I bought another house reason. It's all out there.
Yeah, and I would say in a way, the first thing to check, website. Go look at the website of the company.
Absolutely.
Make sure that it's something that you would shop from. If you wouldn't shop from there, there's no reason to sell your home there
And
in
the
the first
second
place.
would be the reviews, the Google reviews. Okay,
Right.
I just want to say real quick, Dave from RedFork, give us a shout out, Dave. Where can they find you guys at?
Great question. So we go by all of our socials as @RedFork Team. So whether you're looking for us on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, you'll find us there. Otherwise, you can go to redforkmarketing.com and check out our website. We've got a lot of great information there, and we would much appreciate it, of course.
All right, we'll be right back after this short message from our sponsors right here on the Q, 1410 AM radio. You want something that's very affordable, we could build something solid that's going to be very good. We'll build something really nice for you. It just depends on what you want and how far you want to go with it. Because you could build one of these just like a regular home. I mean, you can put more insulation in the ceiling, more insulation in the floors. We could put impact-resistant windows on them if you want. We actually can make them a smart home if you really want to go that route, but all that costs more money. So you always know what's going to cost with just your regular options. And then if you want a little bit something special or you think you deserve a little bit more, we're able to do that for you too. All right, well, welcome back to MH Live, and we are here with Dave Diaz and Dan Aaron from RedFork Marketing. And we've been chatting all show about a lot of things, man. We talked about the history, how we got here with RedFork, and some of our missteps we've had about the branding, the website, how you guys helped us. And, now we need to talk about, for our sellers, what they can expect of us moving forward. What can our sellers expect of SunBelt moving forward? Maybe you guys can answer that.
Yeah, one of the biggest things is, and we mentioned this on the last segment here, if you wouldn't shop from that website, you probably shouldn't be selling your property there in the first place, right? So for us, it's about continued maintenance, of course, on the website and making sure that we're upgrading it constantly, making sure it's easy to filter down and find listings. I mean, even Ed, at one point, you brought feedback to us and said, hey, I don't think this is working. We need to move this here, right?
Yeah.
And so those sort of things are remarkably important. But, and here's one of the biggest butts of the show. If you build a website, it is figuratively built in the middle of the internet desert. There is no pathway to that. It's the mall scenario works, but to a point, there's no parking lot, there's no sidewalk.
Desert.
Yeah, the internet desert. It is the internet desert, right? And so
the internet's even bigger than the actual world.
I mean, saying there's billions of websites is an understatement.
Wow.
Okay.
I never really thought of it loud.
Yeah. So we have to build the roads to get there. And one of the biggest ways that we do that is by focusing heavily on a category of marketing called performance marketing. Performance marketing houses SEO, which is search engine optimization. It's making sure that when you go to Google, for example, and you search for a home, that SunBelt is one of the options there. As a matter of fact, if you are in the Central Florida area, I'm very confidently saying this. You ready for this?
Yeah, go for it.
If you are in the Central Florida area, we would urge you to type in, hey, I am looking for a manufactured home. Who should I speak to? And there is a very good chance. I mean, The results change quite a bit depending on who you are, and there's algorithms and all that at play. But there's a very good chance that SunBelt comes up, and that's not accidental.
Yeah.
That we've worked incredibly hard.
We see ourselves on the first page, second, third, sometimes during searches now, and that was never happening before.
No, and there's a lot of different reasons why that's happening now. One of them is that you pay your invoices on time.
Yes, we do. All of our bills.
No, but in reality, the reason why that's happening is because you have to understand what the job of a search engine is, or what the job of AI is, or what the job of Instagram is. Whatever platform you go to, wherever you decide to market, you have to understand what their job is, right? Google's job is not to promote SunBelt Home Sales. That's not their job. Their job is to solve somebody's problem or to answer their question.
Right.
That's it, right? So if we can do that, if we can help Google do its job, Google's going to go, oh, this is a great website. We should show this more frequently than some of the others. Mm-hmm. How do we help them do that? Well, we help them do that by making sure that the website is remarkably fast. We do that by making sure that things are linked properly. I mean, even things like, for instance, let's say we created that search function on the site that we created for you guys, and we didn't link it in the navigation. We only had it there on the homepage. Google sees that as a broken page, or what's called an orphan page, and that is enough to knock almost the entire website off of those results.
Crazy. Who would know that?
Who
knows that?
And these guys would know that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. There's actually there's a giant checklist that we actually look through on a quarterly basis, and not just look through, but update, because Google runs updates to their algorithms frequently, right? So there's about 400 things on that checklist that we are looking for on a weekly basis.
I was going to say, you do this on a weekly basis.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys are on it every week to see the performance and what you have to tweak. So you're tweaking our website and our SEO every week.
Yeah, well, and here's the craziest part about it. Something that worked this week may not work next week.
Yeah. Why?
Well, that's a good question. Let's say that there's an event in town, right? And there's somebody searching for manufactured homes here in Central Florida, but they also happen to be going to an air show, right? They may be searching in tandem with that air show, and so we have to know that, and we have to put content on the website, or build a blog post, or build content outside of the website through something called backlinking that connects those two different intents together, so that Google sees a marriage between the two. But guess what? Next week, there's no air show.
Ah, that makes sense, man.
Right?
Gosh. How do you guys learn? Did you guys go to school for this, or what? You guys learn this? I mean, how do you learn?
Here's the crazy part about this.
Self-taught?
And Dan, you can step in on this too a little bit, I think. The market changes so quickly, Dave, and not just the market, but the tactics and the strategies.
The technology changes so quick.
That any amount of schooling is completely nullified within a year, in my opinion. You might conceptually get some of the details down, but the actual strategies and the specifics, I mean, you can speak to this more, being on the web team. I mean, what are some of the things you run across that have changed?
Yeah, I mean, at the core, the more technology changes, the more we have to be up on our game.
Machine learning, I guess, right?
Well, that too, but at its core, I would say we're nerds. We just we don't like not knowing what's new, and not even just for the sake of making sure we know it, but just like we're curious at heart, and we're curious for the sake of ourselves. We're curious for the sake of how can we help our clients, our partners? How can we help their customers and clients? So we even think about on the website things like user experience, right? Dave was mentioning the search on the front page, right? So the as people get to the website, they want to search for a listing. We make it as easy for them as when they hit search, it takes them to the directory, and it can sometimes even filter based on that search. So it's always about making it as easy as possible for whatever intent someone has on the website. So whether they're going to learn about SunBelt, or they're going to learn about specific information shared through the blog and the learning space, or they're specifically wanting to learn about the latest listings or specific features of a listing, the idea is to make the user experience as easy as possible to the latest features that are available.
Sure. Yeah, and it's what you say resonates with me, because I have a son who's an engineer, and he's over in Seattle working with Amazon. He works with the music division with Amazon. He's a mid-level manager, engineer, and he was telling me the same thing. He's like, everything I learned in college is not relevant anymore. And he went to UCF. I paid a lot of money for that. It's not relevant anymore.
Hey, go Knights. I went to UCF as well, but I'll tell you, it's the same thing.
He's like, it's not relevant. It's all machine learning. And then once the machine learning came in, he had to learn it. They had to learn themselves, basically, over at Amazon. So that's how they do it.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, one of the things we focus on tremendously, because you can get people to the website, right? But I'm sure everybody listening has been to a website where you click on a link and it's not what you expected. And and then what do? You leave, right? Immediately. That's called a bounce, by the way. So you bounce from the website, literally. And so one of the things that I know your department focuses on, Dan, quite a bit is conversion tactics, right? Because in order to make sure that the sellers get what they need, right, in order to make sure that these properties are actually moving, and not just the sellers, but also the buyers, right? I mean, we have sort of these two sides that we're always kind of push and pulling between, right? We have to make sure that there's very good conversion tactics in play. What are some of the conversion, tactics that you use?
So a lot of that is a lot about storytelling and really thinking about, again, the content that's on the individual page and what it's curated for. So if it's a listing page, we want those pictures, as Ed was referencing earlier. We want to make sure that we showcase features of that listing. And from a call to action standpoint, we want to make sure that almost in any view that person is on the page, there is a button or a link that they can click. They can see the agent that's on that page. They can see their phone number. They can have a button at the top that says contact now or find an agent now, right? So those little things make it so much easier, whether you're on the seller side or the buyer side, to ensure that you have a journey that's curated for the best experience for you to take that next action.
Call to action. We never even know. We didn't even know what that was. Call to action before.
One other thing on this is when we're running our lane, it's different. We have our competition is realtors and real estate companies, okay? That's a mixed bag of nuts when you go onto their website and try to find something. It's really tough. If you're actually looking for a manufactured home, 55 plus community, family community, you should use actually a manufactured home website. Estimates and stuff like this get you in trouble big time.
Yeah.
Well, it's a totally different market,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's related in that they're living in it.
They try to blend it, and as hard as it is for us to get the word out on these manufactured homes, think about horse ranches, condos, everything. All
Realtors have
into
everything.
one.
Yeah, they have the whole bag of tricks that they've got to.
And they really got to deal.
We get to focus. That's what I like about our little industry. We focus. We're manufactured homes. That's it.
And that's honestly, you're going to provide the best level of service for that type of product because you're so focused, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. One of the other things we talked about call to actions, right? There's many times where you go to a website, it gives you all the information, and then there's no next step, right? A call to action is, as Dan was saying, the specific things that we want a customer to do next. And we actually, we spend a lot of time thinking about what those call to actions actually say. They're super important.
I know. And where to put them on the website.
Where to put them, what to say. So for instance, I'll give you an example. Let's say that you had a button that said listing, right? And you were to click here versus see listing. Just adding the word see in there is remarkably different when it relates to actual results, So we spend a lot of time thinking about these minutiae and nuances so that when sellers come to you guys and you list their homes, right? Even with market challenges, they will experience less time on market than with many of the other companies in this area.
Yep.
It's just inevitable because of how we've worked together to build this thing.
On the back end, one of the things that I remember, this is like probably going back 5 years or so, bringing in the Zillow conversation and these other big real estate-based websites and services where they have their listings and they have their directories on there. But as you're saying, it's not really truthful. It's not setting up the seller or buyer for success. No. And I think one of the early things, 5 years ago, is Dave, you came to Dave at SunBelt and said, I think we need to build a directory on site, right? And so what a lot of people don't see is that there's a custom-built directory database that we built, and then the SunBelt team took that on, and I remember we worked back and forth to figure out what are all the little pieces that go in that directory.
It was months.
And then most importantly, how do we make it as easy as possible for the SunBelt team to add new listings, remove them as they get sold, update them if they need updates, so that way as the market shifts, as the seller shifts, it's within a snap, you can easily update those listings.
I've got a question for you guys. For our sellers, this market here, we are geared to helping sellers because sellers are in the bind right now. So that's where our focus is to help
Yes,
the sellers.
absolutely.
Right? So how can you guys? What can you guys tell us about AI and the new? I guess it's not SEO, but it's
GEO.
See, I don't even.
So
Tell me
it
about
stands
that.
for Generative Engine Optimization, right?
Okay.
So generative meaning it generates a result.
So more people are using Chat, GPT, and other AI sources. How are you guys staying up to date with that?
And Dave, here's the crazy part. Whether you want to use it or not, it's in place, right? And here's what I mean by that. Search anything on Google, and what's the very first thing you see is the AI overview.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So even if you're not intentionally trying to use AI, it is the first thing that comes up.
It's caked in. It's
Right?
there.
It really
Right?
is.
And we like to call that the beachfront property of Google. You want to be on the beachfront property, right? So for instance, let's go to
We're on the beachfront property.
You are on the
We
beachfront
are
property.
on the
Yeah,
beachfront
lots
property.
of work, but we've gotten there. I mean, so think about something like at a grocery store, right? Like gum sales. Gum sales would absolutely plummet if they weren't in the checkout aisle. That's not something typically people are looking for at the grocery store, but when they're checking out, they're there. And why? That is the beachfront property. That's where people make the easiest decisions, is in that section, right? Having said that, one of the cool things about AI is that, again, if you understand the job of AI, which is to be helpful, which is to be knowledgeable, and to help people fix their problems or answer their questions, then you get to be there. And unlike search results, which includes pagination, meaning you can go page by page and see as many results as you want, not that most of us ever go past the first page, right? But you can. The difference with AI is it says, here are the 3 results, and that's it, right? So you have to work ridiculously hard. In fact, there was a specific search term, and I won't give this away because our competition might be listening to it, right? But there was a specific search term that we wanted to make sure was ranked appropriately for AI. And we have some tools that help us understand where you sit within the rankings. You were initially well past the 90th recommendation for this specific keyword term.
Womp womp
Womp, womp, womp. So we worked really hard to get you guys up, but what was so crazy about it is even when we got you to the 4th and 5th spot with tons of work, that meant nothing,
Wow.
right? I mean, think about that.
Yeah,
So
you got to get to the top 3.
you have to get to the top 3. There is no choice with AI and GEO specifically but to get to the top 3. And so we know that and we understand how important that is. And again, I would challenge you to actually go to Google or go to your favorite AI and ask that question, who should I work with if I'm looking for a manufacturer in Central Florida? And you'll see more than likely SunBelt appears in that top 3 results, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. That's beachfront, baby.
Beachfront, man. There we are.
And beachfront ain't cheap.
No. But here's the other part about it, and for any small businesses who are listening who may consider working with a company like ours, you're not looking for cheap. You're looking for an investment, right?
Absolutely. We don't want cheap. We want value for price paid. That's what I always
Absolutely.
support. Well, listen, guys, that's it for the show. We really want to thank you and RedFork Marketing for coming to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
Yeah.
you. This was fun.
Thanks. We'll have to do it again.
Yeah.
Well, listen, guys, why don't you tell the small businesses and the sellers and people out there how they can get a hold of you?
Sure. So if you're looking to work with us as a marketing company for your small or medium-sized business or franchise, you can reach us at redforkmarketing.com. You can also go to any of our channels at RedFork Team, and we're happy to help however we can. For the sellers, man, SunBelt is the place to go. Let me tell you. I mean, we put our full seal of approval on that one.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
Well, thanks again, guys, and you guys have a great week, and we'll be in touch with you, I'm sure, very shortly. See you next week, everybody. Thanks for listening to MH Live.